Happy Monday, everybody. This is Alex Harshman here with Wholesale to Freedom. For those who don't know, this channel is all about real estate, business, entrepreneurship, and I share my story along the way. And today I'm coming at you with another Motivational Monday video. And today we're going to be talking about how to overcome that fear of the next step. Why is this important to you? Because so many times in every avenue, not just real estate, you have this experience where you're afraid to take the next step. Maybe it's because you don't know what goes on after that next step, or maybe you're scared to take it. Whatever the cause or reason, there's a way to overcome that. And I'm going to give you some simple tools to success on how to do that. It's something I pride myself on being very good at, is just taking action on things, not really thinking about them. It's also my biggest weakness because sometimes I don't have all the facts, or sometimes I'm ill prepared. But still, even my weakness is my strength, because a lot of people don't even get started just because of the reasons I mentioned before. But really the most important thing you can do is just take that next step. So let's talk about it right now. Let's talk about where that fear comes from and what fear is. So fear is a survival instinct that we have, in our crocodile brains, that tells us, hey, stay comfortable where you're at, because we know that works. We know you're living and breathing, and we know that everything is okay. That's how the mind works. Now, the reality is the internal side of you, the part of the brain that's just striving for more, striving for success, striving just for growing yourself. Tony Robbins talks about how growth equals happiness, because if you're not growing, you're dying. And I feel that it's the same way. You have this crocodile brain, and then you have this new age brain that's like, hey, I got to do stuff. But the other one's like, hey, you're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die if you go outside your comfort zone. And so I completely understand why a lot of people, they feel like they're going to die when they take that next step, or they don't know how to take that next step, or they just get that fear of the next step, right? It's a real thing. Fear is a real thing, and it's also not a real thing. It's a real emotion, but honestly, most of the time, 99% of the time, it's a made-up fear, and it never actually comes true. So now that we kind of understand where that fear comes from, let's talk about where it comes from on, your side of things, where maybe you're just afraid to take that next step because you don't have all the answers, right? You don't have the step after the next step. You feel like you got to have all the answers up front before you can take that next step. And we call this analysis paralysis. And it does not ever happen to where you get all the answers and you just keep going through the cycle where you're researching, and here 3 to 6 months go by and you're forgetting all the stuff you researched 3 to 6 months ago. And so you're just starting that process over. You're like, oh, now that I got this, now I got to go back and relearn this. And it's just a never-ending cycle. And therefore, you never actually get any traction. People think that because they're reading books or taking in information that they're actually making progress, and that's not true. True progress comes from taking action and getting knowledge and the experience and the wisdom that action and the result equals, and applying it to your next step. So how do we do that? How do we get that knowledge, wisdom, and experience if we don't have all the answers? Just take action. And I know that's not the answer. It's not the sexy answer. You hear all these people talk about how you can just, affirmations, daily affirmations, just talk positive to yourself. That stuff does help, yes, but it's not the end all be all answer. And so what I'm explaining to you here is you really just need to get in the habit of focusing on the step that you're on. So first things first, focus on the step that you're on. If you're in wholesaling real estate and you're on this channel because you watch my wholesaling videos, or you're inquiring about it, or maybe you're just on this because you found my motivational video and you want to hear what I'm about. But for those who are looking to take the next step in any avenue, let's just use wholesaling for example, focus on the step that you're on right now. So the first step in wholesaling is to get in front of sellers, right? Because without doing that, you cannot talk to sellers, you cannot get a contract. And it just really all starts with the sellers. So you got to find a way to get in front of the sellers, either through marketing or, going door knocking. So, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. I have videos about that, but the first step there is talking to sellers. So now that we recognize what that first step is, now we got to figure out how we're going to obtain that goal. So we know that marketing is the only way to get in front of sellers unless you're door knocking. So now we got to decide which form of marketing we're going to do. now that we've decided which form of marketing we're going to do, then we're going to go ahead and take action on that. We're going to decide and we're going to take action. It's really that simple. So let's talk about that. Marketing, there's many different methods of marketing. And so this is, again, where we get that analysis paralysis. We're like, all right, do we do direct mail? Do we do bandit signs? Do we do postcards? Do we do Facebook marketing? Do we do text blasting? Do we do cold calling? And it gets very overwhelming. And so what I would suggest to you is to find what is going to get you the most hands-on experience talking to people. Direct mail, yeah, you send it out, but you don't get a whole lot of responses in return. You're kind of waiting for things to happen. Cold calling, on the other hand, you're actively seeking prospects and actively seeking leads, and you're getting in front of sellers on a daily basis, if not like every couple minutes. And so there you're getting more hands-on experience, more knowledge, more wisdom, talking to sellers, overcoming objections and handling, those objections, and how to get a contract, things like that. And it's really, really important, because what happens when you finally take those next couple steps, you become successful at it, and now you're in the process of scaling your business. Now you got to teach the employees under you, and you can't do that without your own experience and wisdom, right? Because then you're gonna fail. So what's going to get you the most hands-on experience and wisdom and knowledge in the industry or whatever you're doing? Take that next step and do that. So figure out what step you're on, and then decide on how you're going to achieve that next step. And these things should not take very long at all. And now once you decided on how to achieve your next step, hopefully it's something that's going to get you the most hands-on experience. Then you're going to go out and consistently put in the action. You can consistently put in the action, because consistency always beats talent, and those who are not consistent, the competition. Basically, the one who wins in this game of real estate and most things, if not all things in life, are the ones who are consistent, right? Because there are people who are sprinting and they sprint this really quick race, and then they're done. And they think that they've done it all. They've achieved everything. You hear them all the time. I used to do this. I achieved this a long time ago. About 2 years ago, I made this. But they're not doing anything now. And so you want to stay away from those people who are just doing those short sprints, and you want to be in it for the marathon of life. So you want to be in it for the marathon of whatever your business or avenue you're in, and you want to go for the long term. So instead of saying to yourself, I'm going to try this for 1 month and see how it goes, and if I don't get any results, I'm done. Think about it like this. I'm going to try this for 12 months. I'm going to stick to it an hour a day at the very minimum. If I want to do more, I can, but I'm going to spend 1 hour a day on my business, and I'm going to consistently do this day in and day out. And I think that's a much more obtainable goal than saying, hey, I'm going to work 8 hours a day for a month and see what happens. Because chances are you're not going to work 8 hours a day, and then you're going to beat yourself up because you didn't do what you said you're going to do. And then you got to get in the process of not beating yourself up anymore every morning. And then it's just a really bad turnout, really. And that is the secret formula to success. That's the secret formula to taking the next step. And one little pro tip here for overcoming that fear of taking any kind of step, even if it's the first step, the next step, whatever it may be, because this applies to all steps, not just the first step, right? If that person's car is like squealing like a pig. But what helps me, really helps me on a daily basis, because entrepreneurship and even just daily motivation is not a one-time thing. Like once you do it for that day, you don't have to worry about it for the rest of your life. No, it's a daily thing, like every day. Jim Rohn talks about how you should guard your mind every single day. Stand at the gates of your mind and guard it every day, because every day is a battle with your negative emotions, these fearful emotions, and if you let them in, they're gonna win. And so the old African proverb that says, there is no enemy outside, it's only the enemy within. And I strongly believe that if you can conquer the enemy within, which is your fear, your insecurities, and everything else, then you have no problem translating your skills and abilities to the outside world without the fear of repercussions, right? You're going to not be fearful to take that next step, because you're going to have certainty in yourself that you can do it. And so again, that pro tip that I was going to mention to you is that, be grateful every single day. Just find, and I told my students this, and it's something that I learned. This is a tip I learned from a millionaire here locally who owns over 100+ units of commercial and is now buying multiple commercial stores and malls even. I got the chance to pick his brain. I took him out to dinner and I said, what has been the best method for overcoming obstacles for you? What's been the best method to help you, take that next step? And he said, Alex, well, every morning I write down things that I'm thankful for that haven't happened yet. So for example, he would say that if he had multiple deals on the table, or if he was wanting to close multiple deals, he would say, I'm thankful for all these deals that I closed and netting X amount of dollars. And he would write that every single morning, and a bunch of things. I'm thankful for being closer to my wife and kids. I'm thankful for the time that I get to spend with my wife and kids. And the more time that I get to spend with them, I'm thankful for all the workouts that I've done this past month, things like that. And he would do it for the present, but in the future. So if it was like January, he would write it, I'm thankful for all the workouts that I did in January. Even though end of January hasn't come yet, he's still writing it as if it had already happened. And so through the law of attraction, he said, I don't know how it works, Alex, but it does. Everything that I've written down, it's come to fruition. So that is my pro tip for you. And I strongly recommend every single morning you do that. If it takes 5 minutes, just write it down in a journal. At least 5 things that you're thankful for that have not happened yet, but you want them to happen. And then take action using the steps that I mentioned before. I hope you found this motivational Monday video helpful, and I hope that you will go out there, take that next step. Understand that the fear is a natural emotion, and to not let it block you from doing the things that you want to do. Instead, accept that the fear is there, but just know that it's made up fear most of the time, and it's just your crocodile brain telling you, hey, you might die if you do this. But in reality, you got to ask yourself, am I actually going to die from taking this next step? No, chances are you're not going to die. And so I hope you found that video helpful. If you did, please subscribe down below, smash that thumbs up, as it does help the channel, and click that notification button so you can get notified every time I go live. Also, when I post new videos like this, whether it's motivational videos or my real estate videos. For those who have already subscribed to the channel, I want to say thank you for your love and continued support. And for those who are not and who just subscribed, I want to say welcome to the Wholesale to Freedom family. And I hope to see you all in the next one.